Could I ask the other speakers to please come up here? We're going to do a little bit of Q&A, Rachel and Carly. And Amy, it looks like you're still on. Hi. So let's see. David, why don't you take the first question, please?
Carly, this is for you. So I'm a big fan of orbital data. I think our survey team has used every instrument on Chandrayaan-1 and LRO that there is. So I love that data. But I'm also concerned about programmatic balance. So there have been decades of orbital missions, and it's been 50 plus years since we've had a sample return mission. And so I'm wondering what you think about this programmatic balance. How do we get missions robotic or with humans? I think we keep waiting for humans and it keeps moving. And so I think we need to have some robotic sample return missions. And I'm wondering what you think about that.
I completely agree with you. I think everyone in this room probably recognizes we need both. We can't just go to South Pole Aiken and grab a sample. We have to know the context, et cetera. And the data we have we need modern data. So yes, it's a cost issue is what you're raising, and limited budget. I don't have any magic words for that. Perhaps my colleagues here can comment as well. The part of the problem, and we certainly have this for orbital, is that the route that we can take for orbital is discovery, simplex. It's not a well-defined route of how to get this implemented. So you raise a very important question, and I don't have an answer, but we need to find an answer.
Online question?
Actually, Greg, can I piggyback off what Carly said for just a minute?
Please go ahead.
So, League really takes comments from the community and things like this really seriously. And, this is how the ClockSat was developed, that there was this identified need for a strategy for how to continue to have orbital capabilities. And, that's one portion of the community. We also have a portion of the community that's obviously sample scientists. And so what it sounds like you're bringing up is something that, maybe could be a complementary specific action team to the ClockSat. How is it that we can get sample return? You brought up robotics. This has been something that's been brought up at annual meetings before in terms of asking the CLPS office and SEO, like, when can we develop capabilities for sample return for CLPS? We've also heard recently from the Decadal survey about Endurance A. How could that factor into things in terms of sample return? So I think that there's a lot still to be discussed with sample return, and there's certainly a lot of people who would be interested in getting more of those samples back, especially now that ANCSA has been developing all these really great tools, where we've got new things to analyze with.
Amy, I love that idea. Amanda and Ryan are here physically. Sarah is online, so you may well be getting a request for a new SAT. So we have a question online.
Actually, just some information I want to share. First, Amy, thank you. She shared links in Zoom chat for the ClockSat report. So you all have the links. Just go in there and look at the chat to get those links. And then there was a comment by Sarah while Chip was talking to plug the draft call for ANCSA 2.0, which is up on NSPIRES. They are looking for feedback on the sample list, and comments are due by July 29th. So I wanted to make sure you all heard that as well. But no questions.
Okay. Are there any more questions here in the audience? Or anyone want to type one in online? Okay, Nick.
Hi, Nick Schmer, University of Maryland. This one's for Chip. Those Tomo XRF type of scans, like the CT scans of the cores, are really great. Is there a place those are being shared online that we can go to and access them, take a look at them?
If you go to the ANCSA website that's hosted by the LPI, there's XCT images of one of the cores, 73002, which is available to look at. We will be putting 73001 on that site shortly. And then we will probably put a number of XCT images of the individual lithic fragments on that site, like the one that I showed you, the volcanic glass lithic fragment. There'll be something along those lines. So yeah, those will be available. And, in the future, this seems like it would be a great outreach tool for individuals too. Anything else?
No, that's good. Thank
Okay.
you.
Great. Okay.
And
Christy.
can I just answer another question?
Please.
This was towards David's question again. And I just want to thank David for answering it. That's, I think, really on the money. And I actually have an abstract at the league meeting discussing infrastructure for sample return as kind of the next step from Carly's analysis of orbital assets. So at least some of us are thinking about that.
Great, thanks. Christy.
Okay, no, Chip, keep that microphone, please. Okay. We have a question from Michael Poston asking, when do you anticipate the gas data being available as well as the gas itself?
There will, I'm not in control of this. JS, Johnson Space Center Curation is, but they will make an announcement. Probably my guess would be in the next few months that gases will be available and how to apply for allocation. So that will be occurring in the next few months. And I think within that announcement will be some of these preliminary gas analyses that we have. So again, the next few months that will be available in terms of the data and the samples. And again, our goal for the gas analyses, just like all preliminary examination of samples, is not to do the science. It's to document samples that then allow scientists to request the samples in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. I actually have a question for Rachel. Rachel, I know that you're funded by the Space Technology Mission Directorate, and as is appropriate, I wonder if you care to comment on the role of science in your endeavors, how science and technology balance out each other.
Well, I mean, I think one of the biggest things that the technology community is looking for is understanding what requirements they need to build to. So I think if we can bring in more science voices to help them understand the why, they don't want to get into the why weeds to the extent that a lot of us want to talk to them about them. So we have to be a little bit careful. But I think that's very helpful for them to understand how things will be used. And I think also understanding the vision for what we want to do on the lunar surface once the infrastructure is there. So, we've kind of following on to some of the discussions on the first day, we have a lot of interest in things like the legal implications of the Artemis Accords and the Outer Space Treaty, and what they can do or should do, and how that interplay is. Because if they're making investments, they don't want to invest in a lot of things and then be suddenly told we can't do anything. So I think that having the scientists come in and talk from our perspective about how we would like to see utilization proceed is extremely valuable. So I'd say science is like the reasoning behind what they're doing and what's driving for us to do it. And then I had something on the other side of it, and now I'm losing it. Oh yeah, so I think the other really important thing is for scientists to go and see what the cutting edge tech being developed is, because a lot of the, a lot of things that they're developing for may have great uses if we have a PRISM call or something like that. So if we want to integrate the instruments that they're developing or tools that they're developing, like, Honeybee is a huge participant in the community, but there are others as well that may have really neat new technology that we might want to integrate into our science endeavors. So.
Excellent. Thank you. And I'm going to use that actually as a segue to mention that there's no date for this quite yet, but I've been asked to be on the SOC for an S&D technology showcase that's chaired by Carolyn Mercer, who's the chief technologist in SMD. And this is going to be focusing on new frontiers and discovery opportunities. And that's going to be held most likely the first week of November. So any more online questions, Christina? Nope. Okay. All right. Well, let's give our panel a hand here, including Amy. Amy, thank you.